Simple's better, and Armored Core 6 is here to prove that. At the beginning of this year, I didn't understand that a tsunami of huge, amazing, yet complex games would hit me. All these games came out, and the year still hasn't ended. Out of this list, how many are 40-hour games? How many are 60 hours? 100 hours? How about large, sprawling open worlds? I have felt totally and utterly burnt out trying to keep up with all these game releases. If you're someone who likes your one game genre, then go enjoy your one favorite game this year. But for the rest of us, we're dying out here. And all these games not only require you to give up your life to beat them, but also have tons of different systems to learn. So while some reviews may view Armored Core 6 as a backstep in terms of storytelling and mission design, to me, it's quite refreshing. The missions are exactly that, missions with simple objectives that take 10 to 20 minutes to beat. It never feels like Armored Core was trying to hypnotize me into some sort of gaming binge session like Tears of the Kingdom did. Instead, starting missions from a central hub made each mission feel more intentional. Everything is slowly trying to steal our time, whether it's in a fun way like Tears of the Kingdom, or in a shitty battle pass way. In Armored Core 6, they don't waste any time. In each mission, you will destroy mechs, destroy drones, destroy turrets, and destroy big mechs. You don't need to sort through your inventory because you have too many bananas in your back pocket, or look up a video on how to make a plane motorcycle to get around. You click the mission, you load the mission, and you destroy mechs. Simple and perfect. You may tell me I'm wrong about this simplicity part because there are 306 different parts to decide from for your mech. Yes, that is the actual number. Well, you're right, and you're wrong. This does take time, but it is the only mechanic other than combat in the game. This one mechanic deeply impacts the moment-to-moment gameplay. The legs change your mobility, while the thrusters change your speed, and the guns, they'll determine how effective you are against different enemies. This is the only prerequisite to playing the actual game, to destroying robots. While in a game like Zelda, you need to figure out how you're going to get to your objective, then build a vehicle to get there, realize you don't have enough batteries, so now you have to go down to the depth, then start mining materials to then upgrade your batteries, but then find out you have no weapons, so you need new weapons to replace your old weapons that broke during the expedition, and then you remember you need to cook food before you die. But now you can start to make your way towards the side quest. This is not inherently flawed game design, it's actually so fucking fun. But when there's 16 bajillion games coming out in 1 year and they're all just as complex and they're all just as good, it can get a little bit overwhelming. Sometimes after a long day of work or school, people just want to log on and get the experience they've been craving for all day. Instead of taking precious time to learn a bunch of subsystems and how they interact and do a bunch of chores to get to the actual mission, the actual gameplay of the game. Jack of all trades, master of none. Armored Core 6 masters its core gameplay loop, while other games this year use a multitude of different systems to create a cohesive experience. In Zelda, all your master arm mechanics provide the player with means for creativity. In Baldur's Gate, all the mechanics and interactions are there to support role-playing. In Starfield, all the mechanics are there to get you to explore as much as possible. In Hogwarts Legacy, all the systems are there to turn you into a wizard. While many systems and mechanics may feel good or even great, like combat or customization, with games so large, there are bound to be mechanics that are not well thought out, or are annoying, or are just straight up unpolished. I'm looking at you, Starfield. In Armored Core, there aren't a ton of systems. It asks you to do two things well: build a mech and pilot it into combat. The depth comes into play in those two systems. Need a mech that can move as fast as you can mash the dash button? Build it. Need a mech centaur build? Build it. Want a machine gun only build that uses so much ammunition that it blows through all the credits you earn each mission? Build it. Anytime you face any difficulty in this game, it's usually a build issue before it's a skill issue. And they let you experiment as much as you want without punishment. You can customize your mech every single time you die, and when you're back in the hangar, you can sell back any parts that didn't work for your mech for the same price that you bought them at. This may not seem like a big deal, but trust me, it kinda is. As we've just gone over, many other games would use my shitty mech building skills to turn me into a penniless hobo who needs to do a bunch of side quests about collecting bananas to earn money to pay off my debt. Now this can be fun, if done right, but that's not the point. The point is sometimes less is more, especially this year. Mech building may still seem complex, and then you see gameplay like this and think, this dude is trying to tell me that this is simple? Well, yes. Yes, I am. This game could have given you 306 different parts and just said, GG's, have fun being lost. Instead, the game gives you a set number of parts and slowly gives you more parts after each mission. Any major parts that the game gives you, it will give you a tutorial on how it changes the gameplay and why to use the part. As the missions progress, they slowly give you the right parts for the missions coming up next, teaching you how to build the proper mech for the proper situation. Even in combat, yet again, they slowly ease you in. Even though it may not feel like it's slowly easing you in with all of this going on, when you get deeper into the game, you'll understand this was not the craziest part of the game. Starting the first mission, they only give you 3 of the 4 main weapons you can use on your mech. And by the end of the mission, they use the first boss to teach you the importance of verticality and mobility. Really, the whole first chapter of this game is just the tutorial for the test that comes at the end of the chapter. This dude, he's hard as hell. He's both a knowledge check and a skill check because he has a heavy duty pulse field that recharges insanely quickly. And then he has approximately infinite and 1 missiles to destroy you with. So you must make a mech that can handle that pulse shield while still maneuvering effectively. Small spoilers on this boss fight. If you don't want to hear this, just skip like 10 seconds. To take out this boss, for me, it was the pulse gun with the pulse sword with a ton of missiles on the back, staying close to the medium range. Trust me, I had some other builds that I probably could have beaten him with that got him to about 1/3 of his health, but that was after so many different tries, and I didn't really want to bash my head against the wall when the game wants you to try different builds. When I had this new build with the pulse gun and the pulse sword, it only took me 2 tries to actually beat the boss. This whole beginning of the game creates an experience that slowly invites the player in, then delivers on a very satisfying experience. Now let's compare it to a game like Baldur's Gate 3. Now that is a PC game through and through. You have menus on menus to go through, and creating a tutorial for this game requires a tutorial. Obviously a wonderful game that will probably end up becoming Game of the Year this year, but it does require a lot of investment from the player to get that enjoyment out of it. With Armored Core 6, I can pass the sticks to my dad, my friend, my fiance, and they'll all be able to follow along with just a light instruction. But if I'm not in a dialogue sequence or conversation in Baldur's Gate 3, I'm not sure any of those same people could get any amount of enjoyment out of Baldur's Gate without some form of tutorial or just starting the game from the beginning. The point I'm getting at is that all of these games are amazing, complex, fantastic games, but this game is just as important as those games. I believe in the pursuit of the ultimate gaming experience, where we push beyond the boundaries and constantly push what gaming can do. Sometimes we devalue games that are here just to give us a fun time, plain and simple, and they deserve to be celebrated too.